Hey guys, welcome to the happiest hour on earth. We're back again. Tonight we're going to be discussing what it would be like to have a villain park. I think we've all discussed this before at one point or another. The talk about the Oogie Boogie bash happening in the park got us thinking about villainous things.
Oh, yeah.
And so we decided to kind of come up with our own idea of what a villain park would look like. So follow along with us. Let us know what you would do. And yeah, let's get this going.
So yeah, as Em said, this episode was going to be just kind of breaking down what a, fifth gate at Walt Disney World would be like and what a third gate at Disneyland would be like. But as we started talking about the Oogie Boogie Bash and how a lot of people talked about a villain park, we're like, you know what? We should just break this down, go land by land, and kind of give our thoughts of what we would like to see with the villains park. So we are so excited for this. And since we're talking about villains, we wanted to do a villain type drink. And I know there isn't, year round, there isn't really like a villain drink, I don't think.
Yeah.
I know for the special parties there is, but we thought, let's make something our own.
Created our own little semi-original drink.
Semi-original, yeah, and we have a reel for this. I think it should look pretty cool. I don't know how it looks on YouTube since it probably is faded by now, but so this is the Maleficent Mojito.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
had to go with the Mistress of Evil for our cocktail tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. She's like the top bad guy.
Yeah,
she's the biggest. She's the craziest villain.
She is.
So we need to do a drink based on it. So. What I wanted to do, I wanted to have some purple in there, but also green is a very big part of Disney villainy in general. Green is just evil in Disney films. So that's why I like the mojito idea, but we also added some purple food dye here. We also put a raspberry rum mixed with the white rum. I feel like just raspberry just kind of...
little pop of flavor.
Yeah, a little pop of flavor. And I feel like, I don't know, when I think of Disney villains... I guess that's kind of from the evil queen, but she gives a fruit, right? Mm-hmm. And there's just certain things like that. So I thought some sort of fruity thing in there would be good. And then the bottom, you can't really see it too well, but did a little Midori float or sink
for a little extra green.
A little extra green. So we're excited to try this. Should we go for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it's good.
Let's try it.
Ooh, I like it. Do you like
job.
it?
Yeah,
okay, I saw your
good.
face. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, it's good. I was just letting all the flavors soak in. That's actually really good.
It kind of tastes like a raspberry lime mojito. Yeah, because you get the lime in there,
Yeah,
but
there is
a little bit of a lime flavor in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that.
Good. I like it.
So yeah, if you're a fan of mojitos, and you want a little extra flavor
just want some theme to your mojito one night.
That is pretty good. I like that. And then we've done these before.
Yes.
But
another classic villain from a Disney film. Kronk, spinach puffs.
What other food do villains eat? I don't think there's.
I don't think there's any particular notable food items.
Yeah, we could have had an apple, just a plain apple.
It's not very exciting.
So I think the spinach puffs are the most exciting. We've done this before, but might as well take a bite, and I will definitely mute the video because these things are
pretty crunchy.
Let's try.
All right, so we've had a few spinach puffs, which were delicious.
So good.
I think it's time to get started on tonight's topic.
Yeah.
So, as we were discussing this topic over the last few days and kind of trying to figure out the name of the park and what we would do with each land and everything, we wanted to kind of name it something that was similar to Magic Kingdom. Kind of has that theme in there.
In Animal Kingdom, there's a lot of kingdoms.
A lot of kingdoms.
We have to incorporate that.
We wanted to make it a little bit darker, but Dark Kingdom just sounded weird. So we decided on Kingdom of Villainy.
Yeah.
I think you came up with that one.
Switching Magic Kingdom, having Kingdom at the end and kind of bringing it forward so it's a little bit different. So
yeah.
Kingdom of Villainy.
So it's Kingdom of Villainy. And this is where all the villains congregate.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, Maleficent reigns here.
Everywhere.
As Sleeping Beauty Castle is in Disneyland, Maleficent's castle is going to be here in Kingdom of Villainy. It'll be the, centerpiece. It'll also have, of course, the dragon's dungeon at the bottom of it. And I think it's going to be kind of like a walkthrough as it would be in Sleeping Beauty's castle. Yeah. But
so
with Maleficent.
We got that idea of like the dragon's lair from Disneyland Paris. That walkthrough and seeing the dragon's lair underneath the castle is so cool that we were like, okay, we have to do it in Maleficent's castle. And then have like also like a crazy walkthrough, and then you get to the dungeon. So that was like, it would be pretty awesome seeing like a scary castle. Like,
definitely.
Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna have the dragon there. We have to. It's got to be down in the dungeon.
Oh yeah.
So I guess probably like as you get to the end of the walkthrough, it like leads you down to where the dragon is.
It's so cool. And then so when you walk in, we wanted to have Kingdom of Villainy kind of mirroring Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. Kind of, yeah. So
not
like,
exactly.
Still having like similar lands, but kind of being like the antithesis of that. So we still wanted like a Main Street type thing, but we were like going back and forth on what we wanted to do.
This was hard to come up with.
This was incredibly hard.
Because we were like, where is there like a main like street,
like a
hub,
and
like a villainy type scene of a movie. So we had this idea, which I think was our best idea of them all, but let us know if you came up with anything better.
So one idea that we were highly considering was like a Halloween town, like Nightmare Before Christmas. Kind of makes sense, it's an actual town and all this stuff, but we actually decided to save this part for later. I don't know if everyone was going to want to walk into the villain land like straight up Halloween. It could have been weird. We were also thinking like a seedy London area, doing like a Cruella ride here, but what we decided to go with, and it's not technically like a villainy type thing, but something that worked, was like a Tortuga type thing, right?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
So when you walk in, it was going to be just kind of like family friendly debauchery.
Yeah.
So it kind of seems a little crazy.
Happens in Tortuga.
A lot of mischief happens, but kind of more like PG-13 rated. But like it would be a really kind of just fun, lively area. So instead of Main Street where it's like this, very kind of like everything seems perfect. This old town or whatever, you walk in and from the get-go, it's gonna be a wild time there. So it'll be mainly shops and maybe kind of like a bartering experience, but like where you actually have to pay, but it kind of feels like that, kind of almost like Galaxy's Edge was supposed to be.
Like a bar.
Yeah, we'll have like one cool bar experience. Maybe that bar has like I don't know if the bar has this, but maybe even in Tortuga there's like a water area, almost like Tokyo Disney Sea. Like a lot of the area is surrounded by water, so maybe something like that. But that would be a cool thing to just walk into right from the beginning. So we thought Main Street would turn into Tortuga. Yeah. What's next? Well, we've talked about this before, but when we come in, we always go left. So that's what we're doing here.
So we're going to be going left tonight as we discuss these next lands, and we'll be making our way around the circle. So, we're renaming a few of these lands. I guess most of them. Is it all of them?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're coming up with new, more villainous names for all the lands. So obviously, turning left, we would be entering into Adventureland, but we decided to give it the name Land of Peril.
Yeah. We wanted to do Peril Land, but it just sounds really weird.
Yeah, the L's blend together and just sounds really weird. So Peril is kind of like another word for adventure, but it's a little bit more like ominous. Scary, a little ominous. So in Land of Peril, we have a few ideas. We thought it would be really cool to have like the Cave of Wonders, in which Jafar is kind of reigning over that. Yeah. Also Skull Rock with Hook.
Which would be cool because like there used to be a Skull Rock or like a water area in Fantasyland, and then they took that out, but they still have Skull Rock and Disneyland Paris, and that was so cool.
Yeah, and it was really cool.
So,
that
like,
was
we
one of
gotta
my
bring it
favorite
to this
parts.
part. Yeah.
So yeah, so I think it would be really cool to have Cave of Wonders in one section.
We need like a Magic Carpet ride. Could also be like Space Mountain.
Yeah,
You're like a very fast kind of like, or also like the Tron roller coaster, because you're already in like a hunched over like position, and it could look like a carpet. So it could be like a roller coaster like that, but there's like screens around you and like set pieces, and you're going through. And maybe you escape and then like end up seeing like the snake Jafar and like all that stuff. Or maybe, I don't know, just something along those lines would be super cool.
Yeah.
But the other area, like Em mentioned, Skull Rock, it'd be really cool to have a Peter Pan ride. And so what we were thinking, like, instead of like the floating pirate ship, it'd be cool to have like an actual water ride where maybe you're like a captive on Captain Hook's ship. And so you're sitting in your restraints, right? Because you're a captive on him, on a ship. And so you're going through Neverland and all this stuff, but like actually on the water. But there could be scenes where you do see Peter Pan, but he doesn't actually save the captors this time. So you do get a glimpse of Peter Pan, but by the end of the ride, you just pretty much join Captain Hook's crew.
You join the crew.
It'd be really cool just being on the water and like going through Neverland. But maybe there's like an animatronic of Captain Hook on the ship, or like maybe you see him in like other scenes. I don't know how that'd play out, but something like that would be pretty cool, seeing like Neverland from the water and like just exploring Neverland, like not even going to London, but just seeing it from Captain Hook's perspective, or like someone on a ship, which would be really, really cool. Another area we're talking about in this, which would be cool, is like
I've always said there needs to be more Lion King.
Yeah.
And so we decided that there should be a Pride Lands in this section of the park.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it would be really cool to have a ride that's kind of like Thunder Mountain style, like kind of a roller coaster, where you're going to see like the Elephant Graveyard. It's very much like in Scar's side of things. So there's going to be the Elephant Graveyard. You're going to go through the cave where all the hyenas always congregate.
Yeah.
It's going to be very dark and mysterious. Be prepared. The song will be going.
Yeah, it could be like, that incline on Thunder Mountain where you're like, I think it's the first incline, but during that part, because it's slow, so you can see like
there will be like hyenas kind of like
they're singing while you're like lifting up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that drop would be.
And then the drop, as you get to the top,
so sad.
It's going to turn into the wildebeest scene, which we all despise, of course. It's the worst scene.
Yeah.
Saddest scene in the whole movie. But yeah, as you descend and go fast down the hill, you're going to be going with all the wildebeests. So that would be really fun, I feel like. And then from there, I think we're going to take it to a
probably
scene.
Like in a new, like inside, like an inside show scene.
Yeah, it's going to
like
kind of, I don't know how
fiery.
it's going to jump from that to this. Kind of hard to plan out all of these rides entirely, but it would lead to like the Simba and Scar fight. So there's like fire and just a lot going on, just really intense.
Up on the hill and you're watching.
Yeah, it'll be up on the hill. So cool. And then I think we're just going to kind of end it with where Scar dies in the movie, where he's going to like fall and then all the hyenas are going to be kind of like surrounding you, and that's just kind of where the ride ends.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of these rides are just very...
It's dark, but we're in the land of villains, so it's going to be dark.
Celebrating villains when all of them just kind of like die.
Yeah.
But we're like trying your best.
But it's still fun along the way.
And then we also had like, I mean, this will just be quick, but like I think a walk, you know how like Adventureland has like a tree house and all that stuff, which is like Tarzan or Swiss Family Robinson, like a walkthrough thing where you could see like Shere Khan and King Louie and maybe some other like Jungle Book things would be kind of cool. But next up after Adventureland, we would be going into New Orleans Square, but we decided to call this New Orleans Alley. So this is going to be kind of like the seedy, streets where a lot of the voodoo takes place in New Orleans. So very voodoo focused. And we are going to definitely need a Dr. Facilier ride here.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be similar to Haunted Mansion, almost like an Omnimover style ride. So instead of like ghosts in Haunted Mansion, it'd be like those spirits, like the voodoo spirits that Dr. Facilier, obviously
His friends on the other side.
And so you could almost be like you are one of those spirits. And so as you go, there could do like the friends on the other side, like a lot of that music, which would be super cool. And so you could go through like almost the movie, but from the spirit's perspective. So you will see like Tiana and Naveen as frogs, like in the swampland. You're going through and you're seeing all that happen. And then obviously they don't get him at that point because Mama Odie comes out. So you could like retreat once she comes out. And then at the end, Dr. Facilier dies. They actually get him, right? And then he goes to the tombstone. So even though a villain dies here, you're like a part of the spirits, like seeing it from their angle. So evil still wins in that little section. So that would be really cool. And then I think like instead of the stretching room at the beginning, it could be like someone walked in and like is trying to make a deal with Dr. Facilier. Maybe you see the spirits go up the wall or something like that. It doesn't have to be exactly like Haunted Mansion, but some sort of pre-show would be cool. And then obviously in that area, doing like a very kind of like music heavy like stuff, like a bar in there, kind of like like I said, seedy kind of something bad might happen kind of thing. So that would be really cool for New Orleans Alley. But
and then
next up,
as we move along from New Orleans Alley, we would be getting into Critter Country. But this is where we decided we are putting Halloween Town.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's kind of like there's like a werewolf thing in there. Like some weird little critters.
Yeah.
They're kind of like just weird
I think
creatures.
it's just like a fitting spot for that.
Yeah.
I think it's just it's its own little kind of area of the park, just a little corner. Doesn't really need a whole lot, but I just think that is very fitting there. And so the ride would be basically the same kind of ride as Winnie the Pooh, which is in Critter Country. So you'd be in kind of a little... Oh, we decided it would be a pumpkin rather than like a honeycomb, because I think that's what you're in Winnie the Pooh. So you're going to be riding in a pumpkin. And yeah, it's just going to kind of be similar to the Winnie the Pooh ride in the sense that you're just going to kind of go through scenes of the movie, and like that big room where it's like the Heffalumpa-Woozles in Winnie the Pooh, it'll just be like the part where Jack goes up on his mountain, that classic scene. They'll be doing his song and stuff. And yeah, I mean, that's
maybe like the Pumpkin King celebration. Almost.
Yeah. Pumpkin King celebration.
I don't know. It would be like everyone gathered together for him to make his appearance and like all that stuff. And then obviously you need like a nice Oogie Boogie scene somewhere in there. But that'd be cool. And like there's already in Disneyland, there's the Nightmare Before Christmas attraction that brings in like, Christmas and everything. This could kind of be more focused on like the Halloween celebrations that Jack did prior to that, since like the whole town is Halloween. So it's kind of like you're attending the Pumpkin, King celebration. Yeah. So that could be cool.
Exactly. And then outside where you would normally meet, Winnie the Pooh characters, we'll have Jack and Sally and Oogie Boogie out there to meet you. So that's pretty much what we have for Critter Country, for Halloween Town.
Yeah. So from Critter Country or from Halloween Town, we usually make our way to. So we're omitting Frontierland, which I guess without Star Wars Land you would go to next, but here we would be going straight to Fantasyland, or what is now called Sinisterland. So this land would be focusing on the princess villain. So, right, the castle is Maleficent. We'll have the evil queen. We could have Ursula, the stepmother, which we have no Cinderella, right? Yeah. In like any park. I don't know how you're going to do a stepmother ride since
they would. I think it would just be like another dark ride. It would just be another one where you're kind of going through
trying to keep Cinderella in her room.
I don't know, and it's just like a dark ride with different scenes. with the stepmother.
And you could just have like an animatronic Lucifer cat.
Yeah.
On your.
He's definitely got to be
all
in
the
there.
time.
He's a good villain
He's
as
like,
well.
he's always on her lap. So it'd just be
Yeah.
kind of like, you're just like having him on the lap the whole time.
You are Lucifer.
You're at
in
least
the ride.
okay.
We're gonna be
that
Lucifer.
would be cool because he goes everywhere, man.
He does.
He's up. He's trying to get the food that the chickens
He's
are
a part
getting,
of
he's trying to
everything.
do-
He's always like jumping out where you don't expect.
Oh my
him.
gosh. Okay, Lucifer style attraction.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get Bruno like mad at you and trying to get the upper hand. Okay, that'd be.
I like that.
I like that. But the other ride that would be so amazing. Actually, another one too. We're thinking like like Ursula could be like the carousel, right? Like she could be like instead of that big canopy that's there, or whatever, it could be just like her tentacles, and then you could be riding the eels
And just some other like sharks and
what are those like the angler fish that like super creepy from Finding Nemo? You could be
riding like all the scariest ocean life.
That'd be crazy. But I think one of the and I think the first thing that gave us the idea for this is the Lost Bears has a shirt called it was like a Hades inspired shirt that says I think it says it's a small underworld after all. And so turning that into a ride instead of Small World, you're pretty much going to the underworld where Hades is, and it's a slow boat ride, but you're seeing all the underworld. So you'll see like animatronic Hades, you can see like an animatronic like Pain and Panic, and a whole bunch of stuff. So that would be kind of really crazy and kind of fitting for the area. So Sinister Land would be like.
A lot
okay, Hercules isn't a princess, but he's still kind of like a prince to Zeus. Like,
yeah, and like It's a Small World is technically a part of Fantasyland, but it always feels to me like it's its own separate thing because it's like just off away from like the main hub of Fantasyland.
Yeah.
And so whatever, Underworld can just be kind of its own thing as well.
So where would we go next?
Yeah. So next, what we have would be Toontown. We decided this is actually really fun. We love this idea. Toontown would become Goontown.
Goontown.
So
this makes sense with these villains.
Yeah. So these are a lot of the villains that are like evil, but like kind of goofy at the same time. Like we have Yzma, obviously.
Which would be like the coolest ride.
Yes. So we would have the Wrong Lever ride, and then we obviously have to have Cruella in there, and she would be taking over Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin because you're like in a crazy car ride in that, and she's like the craziest driver ever. So she would definitely be taking that.
Fun. Oh my gosh.
And then
the Yzma ride would be like I feel like that should be like a Space Mountain type ride. Like it has to be a dark, fast ride, but it has like all those like weird. There's like these weird like arches with like different animal faces or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, as you're going down, but then at the end maybe you like exit the queue, like in a lab as you're like exiting. That'd be so cool.
Yeah,
that'd be so fun.
I like that idea. So we've got them. We've also got Gaston, who we kind of consider another Goonie villain. We didn't really create a ride for him. We're just going to do Gaston's Tavern, which is in Disney World. But it's just going to be like a restaurant bar kind of thing. So yeah. So Goontown would be pretty fun. I think we'd also just have some shops, some meet and greets, like Toontown already has.
Yeah.
But it'll just be much more villain themed.
Yeah. And I'm sure we could fit so many more in there, but those are like our main ideas, and I feel like it'd be so fun. So as we exit, the last land is Tomorrowland, and so, we thought it would be fitting if we did Tomorrowland kind of like the villain side of Star Wars. So, instead of Galaxy's Edge, which is like a G and an E, we thought the Galactic Empire. I don't know if it's Galactic Empire Land or like Galactic. I don't know. Something along those lines. I feel like it'd be cool. But this would be all about celebrating the villains of Star Wars. So
There's a lot of them.
we have like some Palpatine stuff in there. Obviously, Darth Vader, Kylo Ren,
Darth Maul.
Oh yeah, all this cool stuff. Like a meet and greet of Darth Maul, like after he gets cut in half and he has like robotic legs for a while, which would be crazy. But one ride that we thought of, and this would be okay. I think we wanted to do a style of ride almost like Radiator Springs, where it has the ability to go fast, but it's also has like major dark ride scenes. And we want to celebrate Darth Vader in this because he's obviously the best. So what we would do is, since it's able to go, you know, fast and also have some dark ride scenes, we would want to start like, it'd be like a ride through his life. So almost a similar concept of like Spaceship Earth, where it starts from like the beginning of time and goes through like communication and like, you know, all these different things to like modern day. But that in a different ride system, but with Darth Vader's life. So you'll see him as a kid.
Anakin.
A little Anakin as a kid. And yeah, there could be like a pod racing part where like you go like really fast, and then right after that you like make a turn, and all of a sudden you're in his like teenage years where he's fighting along Obi-Wan. And that could also have another fast scene where kind of like the King Kong ride at Universal, where there's a 360 screen around you. You could go to a part where there's a 360 screen around you and it looks like there's other like spaceships flying with you. Because I always think of that scene with him and Obi-Wan like flying through Coruscant, I believe. So you could have like another scene there and see part of his life, but then you go through pivotal parts of his life.
What
you know,
turned
with
him to the dark side,
killing Count Dooku, as Palpatine was egging him on. And you just see his slow descent into the dark side. So we'll also have a slow emotional scene in Mustafar when Obi-Wan is, you know, just cut off his limbs and he's saying, "You
like
are a brother
by the
to
lava,
me, Anakin."
descending into the lava almost.
It would be so amazing. And then so seeing that and then going through doing another turn, and you're all of a sudden where Palpatine is, you know, turning him into Darth Vader. And then one of the last scenes, it might be dark for a little bit, but then all of a sudden you see this huge animatronic of Vader fully suited up, and he's just staring at you, and then it kind of ends there. But doing like a whole homage to Anakin turning to the dark side with Darth Vader, where there's some thrills in there, but it's also focusing on very story heavy animatronic moments. Oh, it'd be so cool. So that is the last land. And then you would go back, you know, to exit. You're going through Tortuga again, so you grab a drink on the way out.
Yeah.
Good. So
that's pretty much what we had. I mean, I feel like there's probably a ton more that we could do with this idea, but this was just kind of like what we've discussed over the last few days and kind of some of our top ideas.
Yeah. And since, you know, our minds can only stretch a certain point and come up with certain ideas, we want to hear what you guys would do in a villain land. So either comment below, comment on our Instagram if you're listening on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts. But let us know your thoughts and we'll share them. I'm sure you guys have some incredible thoughts on a villain themed land, but
who hasn't thought about this idea before?
It was so cool.
There's so many villains. For every hero in a Disney film, there's also a villain
to be a
that
villain
is
around the corner.
An amazing villain. So we had to have a land discussed about that.
Yeah. So thank you all so much for joining. Join us next week. Thank you so much for the follows. I know we did that giveaway. And you guys
thanks for joining in on that.
You participated and all that stuff. Shout out to the 2 winners that we had. I know we're probably going to do some more giveaways once we reach another milestone. So just
keep your eyes out. Yeah, we'll be announcing it probably in the next few months.
Yeah, but thank you for joining us on this journey. And we will see you guys next week for next week's episode.
Yep. See you next time, guys.
Bye.